Rainbow Six Siege is coming up on 4 years live this December, and a lot has changed. I've already covered everything from the initial trailer at E3 2014 up to right before Operation Para Bellum dropped. If you're not caught up, don't sweat it. I'm gonna give you a quick recap, but I'm really excited to talk about all the new stuff that has come since Operation Para Bellum. Previously on Then vs. Now, Rainbow Six Siege launched on the 1st of December 2015 with 20 operators, 10 maps, and 1 recruit, all for your standard $60. The core gameplay was good, but people complained about a lack of content. These early forms of our favorite operators needed to be unlocked one by one and piece by piece, so it could be intimidating to new players. So Ubisoft pushed on knowing that they had something good. In February 2016, they said, hey, we hear your gripes and we raised you 2 new operators from Canada, Buck and Frost. We also got a new map on a frozen yacht, along with some smaller changes. Operation Dustline came out with Valk's stylish cameras and Blackbeard's shield, which is still broken. Hey, at least it doesn't have 800 health anymore, because that was terrifying. In August 2016, we went to Brazil in Operation Skull Rain to recruit Capitão and Caveira on Favela. Capitão may be missing an eye, but that's okay because we just got a spare one called Battle Eye. It made sure that we didn't cheat, and if you did cheat, God help you. Also, claymores and impact grenades got added to the roster. Doc could heal people instead of just reviving them, and Twitch got her second shock drone. Fast forward to Operation Red Crow, and now we're in Skyscraper with Echo and Hambana, 2 operators with possibly the most useful gadgets in the entire game. Bartlett University became a PvP map, and body damage was reworked, and the SMG-11 was no longer allowed to have an ACOG like the cool kids. Mira and Jackal came to intimidate you all in Operation Velvet Shell, the first season of 2017. Glasoscope gets to see his enemies lit up like a Christmas tree, and Ubisoft finally reworked hitboxes so attachments and helmets didn't count as bodies. All of the GIGN thanks you. Operation Health went down in meme history as something to laugh at every time you got connection issues, and to make up for it, Ubisoft gave us alpha packs, promising us extra operators later. The first promised Polish operator was Ella, who got added to Operation Blood Orchid with Legion and Ying and Theme Park. That's also when Ubisoft brought down the hammer and took away ACOG scopes from all 2 and 3 speed defense operators. Some say you can still hear the tears to this day. Ella was far too powerful, so they nerfed her, and they nerfed her, and then they nerfed her again. Operation White Noise dropped with Dokkaebi and Vigil, along with Ella's big sis, Sophia. They also dropped the worst map ever, Tower, and we'll never forgive them for that. All friendly buffs like Rook Armor or Stim Boost would now appear as blue, while enemy effects like being tracked or being poisoned would appear as red for consistency's sake. For a while, all the nations of Rainbow Six Siege lived in harmony. Then, everything changed when the base boom attacked. Operation Chimera started year 3, and Lion broke the competitive scene. Oh, and Finka was there too, I guess. I still look back and laugh about the good old days of decking delicate devices, endless adrenaline boosts, AFK recruits, slow-ass breaching charges, and drop-shotting. So now that we're all caught up, it's time to pick up from Operation Para Bellum. Year 3 Season 2 officially began on June 14th, 2018 when Operation Para Bellum released worldwide. We got 2 defense operators, Maestro and Alibi from the Italian GIS, as well as the gorgeous map Villa. It's still one of my favorite maps for the scenery and the Easter eggs. We also got the famous rework of Clubhouse, which bridges the gap between the bedroom and the garage. Maestro was the first defender to get an LMG as a primary, and his evil eyes were very tricky for players at first, but it was changed to be easier for players to deal with. Patch 3.2.0, June 7th, 2018. During Operation Para Bellum, overall player speed was changed. 3 speeds would be slightly slower, and 1 speeds slightly faster. Instead of a deployable shield, Frost, Doc, Mute, and Castle got the bulletproof camera as their secondary gadget. Cav and Vigil swapped it for their barbed wire. Meanwhile, Echo was given a second yokai drone to use, but they would both hold less charges. They also changed the diffuser animation so that instead of just smacking it, you now used a radio-like device. That way, players wouldn't confusedly try to melee the diffuser like I did. Look, I was new, and after watching so many players smack the diffuser the first time I found it, I got excited and I meleeed it. I'm ashamed of me too. Operation Para Bellum also marked a new chapter in the competitive scene. The pick and ban system let players decide on up to 4 operators they really didn't want to play with, adding another layer of strategy. Finka would lose her stun grenades for frag grenades, IQ then gained a claymore in place of her frags, and Dokkaebi picked up stun grenades instead of a claymore. In Operation Grim Sky, Ubisoft went back to adding 1 operator to offense and defense at a time. This time, Maverick from Delta Force and Clash from the MPS were the new faces. This was also when the rework of Hereford base went live and the training facility was replaced with a more old-fashioned British training facility. Maverick was basically just a you to mute jammers and bandit batteries. His torch used to be even quieter, believe it or not, and before patch 4.1.0, he gets swapped to it and his weapons much faster. Meanwhile, Clash brought a previously offense-exclusive ability to the defense side, the ballistic shield. We couldn't help but wonder, what's it like to peek with a bulletproof shield, and can I stop this player from rappelling in a window? And the answer is yes, by the way. And it's like the best thing ever. Patch 3.4.2 changed her machine pistol from a 2-round burst to full auto. It also slowed down her swap speed and updated the charge time on the CFG. And up until patch 3.3.0, if you didn't pick an operator before time ran out on the selection phase, you would automatically play recruit. So it was super easy to see who was too busy checking their phones to select an operator. Adding in the random select instead was rather fun and gave players a chance to better contribute to their teams even if they didn't select someone in time. Later still, Ubisoft would add a random selection button for those who would like to roll the dice when rolling for Q. A few days after Rainbow Six Siege's 3rd anniversary, Year 3, Season 4 kicked off with Operation Wind Bastion. The DLC added Kaid and Nomad from the Moroccan GIGR and the Fortress map, which I only recently realized only has a day mode, which is a real bummer because I bet the nighttime skybox on that would be gorgeous. Kaid finally allowed us to secure hatches from below without putting a mute jammer on a washing machine, while Nomad was the first trap operator on attack, but not the last. Both operators brought a terrifying weapon with them to the Siege arsenal, the .44 mag semi-auto pistol. With its clear scope, minimal recoil, and a whopping 74 damage, this hand cannon was practically a sniper rifle on release. Ubisoft heavily nerfed this within the week of release, reducing its damage from 74 to 54 and increasing its recoil to take away from its long-range power. I can still hear the power of this thing echoing in the hallways because seriously, this thing was a monster. Kaid and Nomad were also the first to receive an area of effect feature in 3.4.0 to show their gadget's deploy time. Going into March of 2019, we begin Year 4, Season 1 Down Under with Operation Burnt Horizon. The update adds the tiny lad Mozzie in the brick house of Gridlock to the SASR Mobility Platoon. Outback got added to the map pool and the newcomer playlist debuted as a place for new players to better tackle the learning curve that is Rainbow Six Siege. Gridlock adds to the roster of trap operators on offense, and Mozzie becomes the scariest thing for Twitch since mute jammers. Now, I'd like to take the time to remember March 6th, 2019, the historical launch date of patch 4.1.0. See, up to this point, Ash was seeing a lot of success in high-ranked play, but it wasn't because of her gadget. It was because of her gun and because of her speed. So to reduce Ash's pick rate, Ubisoft did something drastic. They hit the community right where they knew it would hurt. They removed her ACOG from one of her guns. The R4C to be precise. And it worked. She's still rather popular, and I imagine whenever you're watching this, hello future viewers, she probably still will be. So if you're watching this in like 2022, please let me know if Ash is still popular in the comments. I'm really curious actually. And yeah, what's the future like? In this same patch, 2 small reworks launched. Breach charges got a much needed deployment speed buff so attackers could be more comfortable deploying them, and the damage on the attacking side also got reduced from 150 down to 50, while the damaging area on the defender side got increased. They used to be so slow, just watch old clips. You'd never think your operator has done this a million times before. To help the defense out though, Dokubi's phone calls would automatically hang up on their own after 18 seconds. This was great. That phone used to keep ringing in your pocket until you answered it or you died. Now you could just keep your hands on your weapon and let it go to voicemail. Even better, walking into a mute jammer would disrupt the signal. Then on April 1st, we got the best limited time event ever. Rainbow is magic. Mr. Bear was and will be forever the best hostage ever. Playing as toy soldiers on a toy plane was something so fun I could write a whole video on just that, but I gotta keep moving on something much more monumental, the Lion rework. Another momentous patch, patch 4.1.2, April 16th, 2019. The original line scan had a 3-second warning that would shake the building for 4 seconds, affecting the entire map for a total of 7 seconds. The new rework cut this in half, making the warning 1.5 seconds long and the scan 2 seconds. Ubisoft wanted Lion to maintain his intel gathering role while reducing his oppressive base boost. Instead of a full body scan moving in real time, spotted opponents would then be pinged, kind of like Jackal or the Alibi ability. With this reduced power, Ubisoft granted Lion a third charge and reduced its cooldown from 27 seconds to 15 seconds. This patch also nerfed the cooldown on Blitz's ballistic shield, so you could no longer blind a player while they are already still recovering from being blinded. Capitão's asphyxiating bolts got reworked to create a fire effect that would slowly spread out, creating more area denial over a few seconds. Also, Ying's candelas now cooked like other thrown explosives. Until patch 4.1.3, the longer you held Ying's candelas, the longer you waited until the fuse actually went off. Seems counterintuitive if you ask me, so I'm glad Ubisoft added some sense to the recipe. Then, after all that tweaking to blinding effects and buffing a smoke-wielding attack operator, Ubisoft drops Operation Phantom Sight on June 18th. We got Warden of the Secret Service, Nook of the Jaeger Corps, and the newly remade Café Dostoyevsky. Glaz's rework also dropped in this patch, and it was actually pretty similar to what Warden's new spectacles would do. When Glaz's original rework dropped, enemies would immediately be highlighted in yellow, no matter how quickly he moved. This made Glaz an effective breacher, which was not what Ubisoft had intended for him as a sniper. So now Glaz needs to hold still and move slowly, exactly like Warden minus the highlighter yellow. Nook was like if Cav and Vigil had a baby. Insert laugh track for original joke alert, because this has been done to death by the community. And thanks to Nook's role as a stealth operator, the D50 was suddenly allowed to have a suppressor, which doesn't quite make sense, but just in time for Nook's arrival, camera colors got a change to be more in line with Mozzie's hacked drones and Valk's black eye cams. Observation tools controlled by defenders would now, from now on, shine blue, and those controlled by attackers would shine yellow. This includes cameras on maps, drones, evil eyes, the black eye cams that Valk threw out, and the bulletproof cameras. Really anything that provided visual intel to the players. Also, when you trick observation tools with abilities like Vigil and Nook, or whatever else we might get in the future, the light would glow white to just you. All right, now it's time to take a look at the latest stuff and what the future has in store for Siege. Year 4, Season 3, Operation Ember Rise adds Amaru of the Peruvian APCA and Goyo of the Mexican FES, plus a remake of Kanal with less windows. Yeah! Amaru will allow you to play out all of your Spider-Man fantasies and finally go up hatches. When it comes to Goyo, just remember kids, only you can prevent forest fires. Goyo will bring his Vulcan shields along with new deployable shields for everyone. The reworked shields, that is, not the fiery death explosives that Goyo exclusively has. Operation Ember Rise will also add the unranked playlist, where players can fight with the rigid system of ranked play without fear of losing their SR. Ubisoft has also announced Ember Rise will be the first operation to include a mini battle pass. We'll see how this holds up because Season 4 will include a full battle pass. It could be a fun way to grind between seasons, or it could totally just be a money sink. Only time will tell. According to the Year 4 roadmap, the Season 4 operation will give us 2 new operators from Kenya and India, as well as a rework to the map theme park. And yes, now we are finally caught up. And just like the last video, we'll probably look back in like 2 years and wonder how we ever played the game like that. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more changes. After all, we're not even halfway to the 100 operators Ubisoft has promised us. I've been your host, Kyle, and you can find me at AlphaLance on most things social media. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Leaderboard. From indie to AAA, we love the games you play.